You won't believe what happened to me, and I'm still trying to process it myself. My dead son's phone number called me at exactly 3 a.m., 7 nights in a row, and every time I ignored it, hoping it was just some kind of glitch, but it wasn't. My hands would shake, my heart would race, and yet part of me was terrified to answer, terrified of what I might hear. On the first night, I thought it was a prank, maybe a wrong number, but the number matched exactly the one I had memorized for years, the number of my little boy Liam, who passed away 3 years ago. I kept checking the call logs, trying to convince myself it was fake, maybe some random coincidence. But by the second night, I noticed a pattern. The calls always came at 3 a.m., never earlier, never later, and always for just a few seconds before hanging up. The third night, I considered telling someone, but who could understand this? My husband, Mark, thought I was imagining things, and my friends, they would just panic if I told them. Each night, I debated answering, replaying in my mind the last conversation I'd had with Liam, how he laughed when I tucked him in, how he told me his dreams, and I could hear echoes of his voice in my memory so vivid it felt like he was standing right beside me. By the fourth night, I couldn't sleep at all. My phone would ring, my ears straining for that tiny vibration, and I would curl up in bed with tears streaming, wondering if somehow he was trying to reach me from wherever he was, or if I was losing my mind. On the fifth night, I finally called my brother Ethan, who was a little more open to strange experiences than Mark. I told him everything, the number, the time, the fear, the strange comfort I felt knowing it was him, and he was shocked, but suggested I document everything. I even started writing down the exact time of the calls, how long they lasted, any background noise, trying to make sense of it scientifically. By the sixth night, I was trembling every time the clock neared 3 a.m. I remember sitting on the edge of my bed, staring at the phone, telling myself I couldn't run from this anymore. And then came the seventh night, when I knew I had to make a choice, ignore it again or pick up, finally face whatever this was. My name is Sophie Reynolds, and before I tell you what happened next, please subscribe to the channel and comment your country below, because what happened after that call is something I could never have imagined, something that would change everything I thought I knew about life, death, and the connection between a mother and her child. I didn't sleep at all on the seventh night. I just sat there staring at my phone, my hands cold and my chest tight as the seconds dragged closer to 3 a.m. And when the clock finally hit it, the screen lit up again with that same name, Liam. And this time, instead of letting it ring out like I had every other night, I forced myself to move, my finger hovering over the answer button while every instinct in my body screamed at me not to. But something stronger pulled me in, something only a mother could understand. And before I could change my mind, I answered it. And for a moment, there was nothing, just silence. The kind that makes your ears ring, the kind that feels too heavy to be normal. And I almost hung up until I heard it, a faint sound like breathing, shaky and uneven. And my heart stopped because I knew that sound. I had heard it 1,000 times when Liam used to fall asleep on my chest. And my voice broke as I whispered, "Hello?" And then it came, so soft I thought I imagined it at first. "Mom?" I froze completely, my entire body going numb as tears instantly filled my eyes, because it wasn't just a voice. It was his voice, exactly the way I remembered it, innocent and small, and I couldn't even breathe as I whispered back, "Liam?" And there was a pause, a long, unsettling pause before he spoke again, this time more urgent, more frightened. "Mom, you didn't pick up. I've been calling you." And the way he said it made my stomach twist, because it didn't sound like a ghost or some echo from the past. It sounded real, like he was somewhere waiting for me. And I started shaking as I asked him where he was, what was happening, how this was even possible. But instead of answering me directly, He said something that sent a chill down my spine. "Mom, it's dark here and I don't like it." And I felt this overwhelming wave of panic crash over me because that wasn't something a memory could say. That wasn't something my mind could create. And I tried to stay calm, tried to comfort him like I always used to, telling him everything was going to be okay, that I was there, that he wasn't alone. But then the line crackled, a strange static filling the silence, and his voice came back, weaker this time, almost like he was being pulled away. "Mom, you have to listen to me." And I leaned forward, gripping the phone so tightly my knuckles turned white, my heart pounding so loud I could barely hear. And then he said it. It wasn't an accident. And everything inside me shattered in that moment, because Liam had died in what everyone told me it was a car accident 3 years ago. Something tragic but unavoidable, something I had forced myself to accept. But now my son was telling me it wasn't true? And before I could ask him anything else, before I could even process what he meant, the call suddenly dropped, the screen going black as if nothing had happened at all, leaving me sitting there in complete silence, my hands shaking uncontrollably, my mind racing with questions I didn't even know how to ask. Because if what I just heard was real, then everything I believed about my son's death was a lie, and I had just opened the door to something far more terrifying than I was ready to face. I didn't move for what felt like hours after the call ended, just sitting there in the dark, replaying his words over and over in my head. It wasn't an accident. Because that one sentence shattered everything I had forced myself to believe for the past 3 years. And by the time the sun came up, I had already made up my mind. I wasn't going to ignore this anymore. I went straight to the storage closet and pulled out the old box of Liam's belongings, the one I hadn't had the strength to open since the day of his funeral. And as I dug through his things with trembling hands, I found his old tablet, still cracked from the accident, still holding fragments of his life frozen in time. And when I turned it on, something felt off immediately. The last video file wasn't dated the day he died, like I expected. It was recorded just hours before. My heart started pounding as I pressed play, and there he was. My little boy, sitting in the back seat of the car, the camera slightly shaking as he whispered, "Mom said I could record today." And I felt my chest tighten, hearing my own voice faintly in the background. But then the video shifted, and I saw something that made my blood run cold. Mark was in the driver's seat, but he wasn't alone. There was someone else with him, a woman I had never seen before, and they were arguing, their voices sharp and panicked. And then Liam's voice whispered again, scared this time, "They're fighting." And suddenly, the car swerved violently, the camera dropping as everything turned into chaos, and the video cut off. I couldn't breathe. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the tablet. Because Mark had told me he was alone that day, that it was just a tragic accident caused by slippery roads. But now I knew that wasn't true. And then my phone buzzed again. I froze. Slowly, I picked it up, my heart racing as I saw the same name appear on the screen. Liam. This time, I didn't hesitate. I answered immediately, my voice breaking as I said, "Liam, I saw it. I saw the video." And for a moment, there was silence again, before his small voice came through, calmer now, almost relieved. "You know now, Mom." And tears streamed down my face as I asked him what really happened, who that woman was, why he said it wasn't an accident. And his answer came in fragments, like he was struggling to stay connected. "They were fighting. Dad was angry. He didn't see the truck." and my entire world collapsed in that moment. Because it wasn't just an accident, it was negligence, a lie, a secret Mark had buried to protect himself. And I felt a surge of anger rise through the grief, something stronger than anything I had felt before. But before I could say anything else, Liam spoke one last time, his voice soft and fading. "I just needed you to know the truth. I miss you, Mom." And I broke down completely, sobbing into the phone as I begged him not to go. But the line went dead again, and this time, it never rang back. It's been weeks since that night, and I haven't received another call. Not at 3 a.m., not at any time. But I don't need them anymore, because Liam gave me what I needed, the truth. And as for Mark, let's just say he never expected me to walk into that police station with the tablet in my hand and a story that could finally be proven, because the moment I pressed play for them, his life started falling apart, just like mine did 3 years ago.